You can see that he's had this way of doing things with all his kids where it's just basically like free labor. Sometimes I think he forgets that it's not his old school children. Oh no! Just dropped it on the floor. Oh, that's my good face moisturizer too. Yeah, so he forgets that he has these kids that did all this work, that grew up doing this kind of thing. So now he's enlisting these kids with Robin, who basically never grew up that way, came into this family where they had money. And the funniest part for me is you hear, there's even the subtitles for it where you hear him say, "Don't scratch the truck." And like a second later, I can watch that one like on a remix or like a replay of it just over and over again of him telling her not to hit it.
This is a little bit weird. Dylan, what are you doing? There's not anything really. I'm free. Like, Savannah's. What do you mean by free?
I like how Janelle approaches this whole thing. She's just trying to be like easygoing and very light with it. Also kind of testing the waters a bit because like we saw her talking with Kody, she's looking at getting an attorney. So maybe she was trying to feel Meri out in this way, like how she feels, like how much she can actually say about her plans and what she's doing. And I think it's been this way through the entire marriage where Meri has been more in Kody's pocket than anybody else. So she has to be careful with what she says. And also in the early years where Meri was like really rude and mean to her, Kody favored her. So Janelle didn't really win on either side. So she had to be careful with what she said. So I just feel like a lot of that history in this conversation. Janelle is talking about Meri's loyalty, comparing it to her dog, but saying she's not comparing her to her dog, that she's just like loyal and keeps coming back to Kody. Like if there's any ounce of everything being salvaged, like clearly she's still in love with him. Clearly she still wants to be with him. So she's doing everything she can. So if she has to throw Janelle under the bus or if she has to talk to someone else, that's what she's going to do. And it seems like that's what Janelle has been used to in this whole dynamic of this family. Even when Janelle starts to go into it.
In conjunction with Kody and I. So if worse comes to worse and it's sold, she probably won't get up work.
Meri says that she's not worried about it, that, oh, the property got put off because there were other bills to be paid. So even in the language she's saying, it's still very vague about what's happening. Like what bill specifically it was. Because we even know with Isabel's surgery that was paid by Christine. So when they say these big bills and other things came up, I just wonder what that is. Is it them getting behind on their mortgage and having to do these like huge payments on the mortgage? Like what is it they're talking about that are these bills that put paying the property off? Meri's just kind of doubting what Janelle's saying. Like she's saying she doesn't feel she needs protection. She feels like it'll be split fairly. Now this I could get if this ever was the way this family worked. If everything was split fairly, but nothing is ever split fairly.
I gotta protect myself. Sorry that you felt like that.
Even though Kody told her like he doesn't want a relationship, Janelle's just kind of reacting to what she's saying. Like I was just the bookkeeper. Like I'm just the one in Excel putting all the things in the boxes of where the money went. But for me, if the person who was just keeping track of where all the money went was telling me you should be worried, you should be protecting your own interest, regardless of how I feel about it or think I'll be treated, like I'm going to listen to the bookkeeper. I don't know. In this situation, I just thought of like maybe any mob movie I've ever seen, like the accountant or like a bookie for like bets and stuff. Like they know everything, but they're not in control of any of it. But they see what's happening with all the money. So if that person comes to you and says, hey, something's not right with the money, like stuff's being skimmed off the top or you're being lied to or insinuating anything shady with the money, I would listen to that person. I would listen to everything they said. I would try and do my own research. I would try and see if I could find receipts. I would try and validate what they're saying instead of discounting. What point was Meri's money not going into the family account? At what point did she pull her LuLaRoe money and her show money and everything from the family pot? Is she still giving money to the family even at this point in time? Like if Kody came to her and said, hey, they just need a little bit of money for something, would he be able to sweet talk her into giving them money? One, how could you be giving money for so long and not really know where it's going? But also on top of that, how could you still not be concerned about where that money went. Two different things. One, I'd be really concerned, but maybe Meri's making so much money that it doesn't matter. Christine and David, like, house hunters edition type thing is going on. They're looking at 3 different houses. They want a house big enough for the kids to come over. And what I'm thinking is, like, holiday stuff, birthdays, random parties they have. Like, you know, they want, like, the living spaces for that. You know, get me a big enough house so everybody can see how nice this is, but I don't want anybody to think they could stay here. There's some kind of pressure to do it all. And I don't know if it's like the LDS culture or if it's religious pressure. Like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on where everything has to be done so quickly. Like, or if that's just like that Salt Lake City, just Mormon culture that's there, even if you're not in the church, maybe you still feel the pressure of that. To do these things quickly. The other thing is I could just be looking to this way too much, and it could just be about Christine wanting the big party. Kind of not that exciting for me because they don't end up moving into any of these houses. Big question on this is how much has Christine like worked on herself and gone through if any therapy, and like what kind of therapy, especially with Truly, has she been through? We do see a little coming up thing at the very end of the episode where Isabel is confronting her mom and like, is she trying to replace her dad with David? And she was crying, and it really got to me of like,
his dad, right? So I'm worried that my relationship with my father really not exist anymore.
A little more. This is how much she hasn't talked to her kids and gotten on the same page and have them comfortable that they're seeing it so fast. They're like, oh, mom's just giving us a new dad. And all the kids like Aspen were seeing her in confessionals.
And get to know each other, so this will be a good opportunity for all of us.
Which I like seeing Aspen on the show. I feel like she's one of the older kids. She's one more practical. This is weird. It feels like a tattoo party and then just telling people you're engaged or something. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never been to a tattoo party either. And so I just thought this is weird. Like, where's the food? Why isn't this nicer? What is going on here? This is a very strange party. And this isn't your party with your friends. Like, I could see a tattoo party and it being like a bunch of friends and people you hang out with, but like not your family. This is not the party I expect to go to if it was like an engagement or a bridal shower, something for a wedding. I think you expect something like maybe floral, light colors, maybe a nice restaurant or something. Like, not this. Also, I was like, if I was an artist, like, I wouldn't really want like a million people like hanging over my shoulder, kind of judging it as I go. Because after this, it's like we are now focused on McKelty and everybody just waiting for this blowout of a conversation to happen between the adults here. And part of this drama is just like, you know, it's just Christine like causing drama, like making this more than what it is. Like, how did you not expect the father of your children to show up at this party? David and Christine are really, really leaning into this whole like overtly touchy, overtly like putting it in his face kind of thing, that they're together. Almost to a point where it's like they care more about it than even Kody cares about it. Because even David was saying this conversation that Kody turned red. I think Christine was leaning on him to make it worse. I didn't really see Kody get that red in the face. But when my husband was talking about it, he was like, there's definitely like a measuring contest in the pants going on here. David trying to show how much he won. Like, dude, you lost 3 wives, I've won. So there's definitely this element of like these guys trying to like show each other up. I mean, it was kind of interesting. I kind of wanted it to be more. There wasn't really anything to it besides like the soccer conversation by people making it awkward. I don't know. I think Kody asked some really weird, inappropriate, like grilling the guy on his kids and grandkids and trying to figure out how old he was and all this stuff. So they're both kind of doing a thing of like measuring each other up, but it's all stupid. Like, what about Truly? Like no one's mentioning Truly. No one's talking about this kid. It's like, if anything, they should have been talking about Truly. Like, have you met Truly? Do you get along with Truly? How is she? Like, maybe that should have been more of the conversation they were having than this one. But yeah, this conversation was like, oh, I kind of thought this was going to be something else. But I feel like I think of that a lot when I watch the show, so Christine wouldn't be so attention hogging all the time, but then that's how Kody is, and she's married to Kody, so there's kind of this double measuring in the pants going on of who won, who did it better, all of that kind of shit. So it is kind of fun to see, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying because you're not talking about the things the fans really want to see. And you know what? We instead of this like everyday party situation where someone is just not getting along with someone or awkward, it's like you want to be at the party where someone says something really messed up, or like something actually happens where you can clearly see like a winner and a loser. Like you can clearly see, hey, that was like out of lines or whatever. This is TV. That's what we want to see. It looks good from afar, I think. Good from afar. David makes a comment about how he likes being a grandfather more than a father because his kids are all grown. They're off doing their own thing. The grandbabies, they like need you more. They're more dependent on you. You can spend more time with them. I think any normal person could see this and understand that. And Kody's just trying to one-up him. And he's like, oh no, I love my 7-year-old. Meanwhile, David, knowing how much he doesn't even see Christine's kids, he's, making this comment. And yeah, but I like it because Kody just ends up really proving his point, where it's like, yeah, you still like the 7-year-old because she needs you and she's home. Like, yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. And I know you have all these other kids that you're not seeing, probably for the same exact reason. But for some reason, Kody thinks he's proving some different point here that, he's basically just agreeing with him, but in his mind, that's not what's happening, because this happens to Kody a lot where he thinks he's making a solid point and he's not. That part amuses me. I mean, I have to look for something in the things Kody says to be amusing, because I will tell you, for the most part, he annoys the fuck out of me, and half the stuff he says I can't stand. And I hate how much he thinks he's so right about everything. Did I destroy it? Possibly. I feel like it might look better on camera than it does, like, up close in my face. Let me see if I look this way in my lighting. Maybe it doesn't look so bad. I don't know. I need contact lens so bad because I keep going back and forth with my glasses. Christine, talking about, she kind of starts on this line like, oh, this was a test or whatever, but then she quickly, like, corrects herself and she's like, no, this wasn't a test. How is he going to do in this situations where it's like not just Christine's kids, but other people's kids? And then also, I think he seemed to handle it pretty well. I mean, better than a Christine. I think he just kept it. There's nothing you can really say that he did. Like, I'm sure him and Robin went home and talked about, like, oh, Christine stepped down, or there's something about him that's wrong or that he doesn't like or whatever. But I don't think he did anything that was, like, too crazy out of line. I think he was just trying to have a nice conversation, and it's just easier to talk with Robin than it is to talk with Kody. Because Kody was trying to make it like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, why was he talking to Robin more than me? And I just think, Kody, there's a reason why many people talk to Robin instead of you. And I also think it might be hard, too, because David comes from this thing of, like, he's this point of view of, like, hearing the way Christine talks about it. Like, he's gonna, and also, like, so he's gonna hear all this stuff about, like, Kody not being there for her kids and all this stuff. So he kind of has a little bit of inside information in a way where he knows more about this man than Kody thinks he does. Kind of see right through him. So in a way, Kody thinks he has an advantage in this conversation when he really doesn't. I think that's the way Kody approaches a lot of things. And because he, at the very minimum, has these very narcissistic traits, I don't think he'll ever see it in another way. Like, he'll always see that he's the one that knows more, is more on top of the situation, all of that. So I think that's just, maybe it's in here. Yeah, it's in here. Yeah, I just think David had the upper leg on this conversation, and maybe he was more prepared to, like, talk about Truly, and, like, and for Kody to be more interested, and, like, hey, how's Truly going, whatever. Maybe that was something that, I think if I was David, maybe that threw me off a little bit, because I would expect him to talk about something maybe I knew more about or whatever. Like, if we had any common ground. Like, I think usually, like, if you want to have a conversation not be as intense or as awkward, you kind of try and find this common ground with this person. And I just feel like that didn't even happen. But I don't see David, like, bringing that up. I think that's, like, a thing you react to. like the bio dad would bring that up and be like, you know, oh, my hair is crazy. But overall, nothing much really happened in this episode. I think the most productive thing that happened was the Meri and Janelle conversation. And so Janelle, I think for me, if I was in that situation, I could walk away at peace in that conversation, that I did my part to try and help her. I think Christine and Kody have a whole lot of things to work out to like co-parent and all of that. Like off the show, why she's going to court for child support and custody, and all of that stuff's going on behind the scenes. You know, I can totally see why she's doing that. I have no idea. This doesn't show me anything going on with Qwen. Like, this was the weirdest party. It didn't help me understand her more or the family more. I mean, that was episode 9. Had a lot of thoughts and questions on it. But yeah, so that's it for episode 9. Finish the makeup look. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And like I said, I'll list everything down below that I did use in the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.